So I'm in the business of really helping leaders make their leadership the best they can be for the people that they're working with. So I want to see them really get the best out of their team. I want to see those emerging leaders and even those career leaders get the best out of what they do. So Maximize Your Leadership is all about helping emerging leaders and career leaders be able to get their best out into the world and get the best out with their people. You know, I've seen so many organizations and businesses that are negatively impacted because the leaders don't know how to educate or engage or inspire their employees. And so that's what we do. We set them up for success, and how great is that? So a little bit about my background and how I got to Maximize Your Leadership. I started out in the education world, and I taught both kids and adults. And then I was an administrator as well. And I helped a lot of people navigate the change. Education is an ever-changing industry, but then as well as businesses, as well as other industries out here. And so I had a lot of great impact on people who were navigating change, and the business world came to me and said, why aren't you out here in the business world? Why aren't you out here helping people in the front line, people who really make a difference in the business, learn how to do what you're teaching the education field? So I founded Maximize Your Leadership, and that's what I do today. You know, I loved the education field, but wow, today I am enjoying this even more. So, you know, it's always great to help a group or help an individual and see the change and see what happens to the culture of the place, and feel the positivity that comes about from the work that I'm doing with that business. It's the same as it always has been for me. I loved it in education, and it's even more rewarding now to do it in the business world. So when people call me, or when they email me, or when they go on www.maximizeyourleadership.com and ask to talk to me about services, the very first thing that I do is do an assessment. We want to know, what are their strengths, what are their gaps, what are their needs, what is it that they want out of having a leadership coach. And so then we just construct their blueprint and what we're going to do that way. So I don't have specific things that we do. I don't have a template that we use. I construct it around their unique needs so that we can get results that will uniquely affect their business. So people ask me what qualifies me to be a leadership coach. You know, I spent a long time in the education field. I was a teacher of kids, a teacher of adults. I was an administrator, and I helped a lot of people through change. And you know, I guess over my life, I've been teaching people how to get along for more than half my life. I've been teaching people how to look for each other's strengths and how to capitalize them for more than half my life. And so there came a point where I thought, you know what, people are coming to me for coaching, I'm going to get credentialed, and I went through school, and I am now today a professional certified leadership coach with the International Coach Federation. Well, the advantages of having a leadership coach are that you can get people started from the get-go. You get managers working with their team, gelling with their team from the get-go. Because, you know, when you get a new manager in a team, or you get a change in the team of any kind, then there's this time where people aren't really kind of understanding how to get along with each other. there can be all kinds of conflict and negativity when you get new people in place. And so to have a leadership coach helps those managers understand better how to deal with those people-to-people kinds of things that happen. How do you deal with interactions? How do you deal with performance management? How do you deal with time management? All of those kinds of things that a manager needs to know for themselves, but also needs to know how to help their employees. So people ask me all the time about return on investment. It's interesting that to replace somebody in any position takes 2 to 2.5 times the amount of money that you pay them. And the statistics tell us that new managers are often gone in 18 months because it's so difficult for them to maneuver and engage with their people in ways that are meaningful from the very get-go. Well, when you hire a leadership coach, the leadership coach gets those folks on board quickly. The leadership coach can get them pointed in the right direction. And so what happens is, instead of losing 2.5 times the salary of someone because you've lost the manager, perhaps the manager was your top salesperson, and you've moved that manager, so you're losing money in your top sales position, but now the manager's not working out because they don't know how to lead people, they know how to do sales. And so you lose that manager as well. Now you've got all this leak to your bottom line. And if you have a coach, that coach can come in and work with that leader. In 6 months, they can have the leader producing, engaging, inspiring others, and can really form that team and help that team move forward. You're not going to lose that 2 or 2.5 times the salary because you've invested in a coach. So one of the great benefits of having a leadership coach is that it's a third-party view of what's going on. So it's not the internal, oh my gosh, this was the gossip of the day, or that person, I remember that person acting this way. But it's a completely objective third-party view of what's happening. So that's what can really help teams and leaders move forward. And the great thing about having a leadership coach who comes in and does contractual work is that you don't have to pay benefits. You don't have to pay a salary. You just pay for the time that you use for the assessments, those kind of things that fit into whatever package you choose, whatever blueprint that is right for your company. So you're not out a lot of money. It doesn't negatively impact your bottom line. It positively impacts your bottom line. You're spending a little money on a contracted person to get huge results. So the great thing about Maximize Your Leadership is how we help you improve, how we set the tone for what you're doing. We don't go in with a template. We don't have the automatic answers. But what we do have is the ability to do the assessments that are needed to see what are the strengths, the gaps, the needs of your particular company, of your particular team, of your particular leader. So we can really get a laser focus in on what's going to help move your team forward. So people ask me, how do we find you? Where do we go? I encourage them to go to the website, but check out our social media, check out our Twitter. We're out there. The very best way that we get our business is from word of mouth. Those referrals that tell people, hey, this is a great place to come to get the exact help that you need for your leaders. Technology has such a great place in the working business today. One of the things, though, that I like to talk about is the impact that technology has had on what I do with leaders and teams and businesses. We have a lot of generations out there working today in the workplace, and millennials are getting to be almost as big or maybe even a little bit bigger today than the baby boomer generation. Millennials love the social media, the texting, the technology to really do their job and really get focused. But that makes baby boomers feel like they're ignored. On the other hand, millennials get crazy when baby boomers don't pay attention to them, don't want to learn new things. So part of the work that I get to do is helping the baby boomers and the millennials learn to look at each other's strengths and work together and make that workplace better. Use the strengths that each has to make it even better, whatever they're putting out there. The other thing is that technology really helps me today. I can be current with the trends in anyone's industry through the internet. I can provide the very best services for anyone because I can research it on the internet. And the other really cool thing about the internet is I can talk to anybody anywhere in the world at any time of the day or night. So at Maximize Your Leadership, we've been able to really work with global companies. We work through the phone, we work through Skype, we work through any kind of audio-visual platform that technology provides. Whatever it takes, we can do individual coaching, we can do team workshops, we can do team coaching, we do masterminds. Anything that you can do over technology, we are able to do with our companies. You know, people ask me all the time, where do you go? How do you get refreshed? One of the great thought leaders that I really admire is Simon Sinek and his discussions about how important the why is, why you're doing what you're doing. And the other thing is I take my own advice, and I have a coach to help me be better myself, but to help me provide better services to those companies that I work with. So people ask me a lot of times about what are the ethical concerns that we deal with in the coaching business. Well, the biggest concern is confidentiality. And we keep all of our information completely confident, whether it's the individuals or the teams or the businesses. Confidentiality is huge. I am a professional certified leadership coach with the International Coach Federation, and I am bound by their code of ethics. And so it makes it easy for me to keep that confidence and to follow those policies. So the services I provide are individual and team coaching, training, seminars. I provide assessments to see what the strengths and the needs and the gaps are, because everything that is a need or a gap is an opportunity for us to make that business even better. Everybody is a leader, whether you are a leader at home with your family, whether you are a leader of Little League, whether you lead an organization, whether you lead a small group of people. So everybody can benefit from the services of Maximize Your Leadership. You know, the great thing about being a leadership coach is that I'm doing what I was created to do. I'm doing what is right for me. And that's what I want to do for other people. I want to help other people do exactly what is right for them, what they're made to do. Another great benefit of working with Maximize Your Leadership is that we are mobile. We can come to you. We can work with you over technological platforms. We can work with you over the phone. Whatever it takes, we're there for you. The great thing about being a leadership coach is that I'm doing what I was created to do. I am using my strengths in the unique way that really helps others. And that's what I want for leaders. That's what I want for teams. That's what I want for you as a leader in your life. I want you to work through your strengths and get the very best you have out into the world. One of my clients, we'll call him Doug, was a leader in a manufacturing plant. And he was a supervisor for all 3 shifts. And they called me because he was failing miserably. He had been promoted because he was the best. He could run any shift. He could fix anything. He could make production rise just by his mere presence in the work that he did. So they promoted him to manager. And in the very first week, several people quit because they didn't want to work for him. First of all, he had been a peer, and now he wasn't. But also, he wasn't using strategies to help his employees do their very best. And a couple weeks into our work together, he said he was being up all night, every night. He wasn't getting to do the things that he wanted to do, that he'd hoped to do as a supervisor. He was exhausted. He was angry. He was frustrated, and he didn't know where to turn. As we worked through that, I began to see at about the 3-month mark, Doug was making huge changes. He was learning to get into the heads of his people. He was learning to check himself, kind of put himself aside to really get in to the heads of the people that he was working with. And as a result, he realized that they all had different strengths than he had. And so the struggles that he had had with some of them began to be opportunities for him to look for other people that could fill in those gaps, began to be opportunities for him to see how he could better use those strengths in a different way. At about the 6-month mark, he came to me and he said, "Wow, you have changed this entire company. You have changed everything that I thought I knew about leadership. You have saved this company, and you have saved my marriage." And so it was bleeding over into his family, into what he was doing in his regular life. That is the beauty of having a coach, having someone to help you see who you are and help you become better in every area of your life, work, life, wherever.